He is a guy that I have looked up to, and he is a guy that I know you as sports fans enjoy listening to because he is prepared. He tells you the story. He doesn't do it in any kind of a fake way. He lets the games dictate the story, and that's really the mark of a true broadcaster. And I know in this room, he will always go down and he'll have a place in our hearts as the guy who called the winning UB performance in the 2008 MAC Championship on ESPN. We want to welcome our keynote speaker today, Sean McDonough.
Thank you, Paul. Thanks for reading that just as I wrote it. You kind of stole my thunder a little bit earlier when you stood. I know that you've been here for a while, but I'm going to ask you to indulge me one more time. Let's see some of that enthusiasm that Turner's looking for. Please stand again. Let's cheer, stretch your lungs. Let's hear some noise as we anticipate this 2009 college football season. Make some noise. Rousing, rousing. Actually, I bet Jay Billis at ESPN I'd get a standing ovation. Now he owes me $100. So thank you, Paul. It had to be on camera. That's why I asked Paul, the photographer, to come up here. Unlike James and Dominic, I knew I was going to speak today, and you guys made it kind of humbling for me to know that even though I knew I was speaking, I'm not going to do as good a job as you two just did. So congratulations with that. And if there are 8 better running backs in the country than you, James, I want to know who they are. Coach Gill told us last year when we were preparing for the MAC championship game that you could play for any team in the country, and that's clearly the case. And I wish you another great season. You're a class act. James, as we were talking before, told me that yesterday he completed a final in one of his summer classes in sign language, so he's going to come up and sign the rest of my speech. Those of us who live in Boston, as I do, we're all versed as we drive through our city in traffic, in a one-finger version of sign language that we've practiced for many years on each other. I know we don't have that in this community with warmth and friendly people. The DVD better be better than LSU's. You had a better season. So I fully expect that to be the case. I would like to ask the 3 people who Paul, Ward, or Turner have not recognized in the audience today to please stand. I was supposed to be on at 12:40, so don't blame me if you're getting back to the office a little bit later than you anticipated. I will do my best to speed my portion of the remarks up a little bit. I do want to thank Paul. One of the reasons I was excited to come back here is to see my old college friend from Syracuse, as we like to call it, the Harvard of Central New York. I'm proud of the job he's done today. I thought he might be a little bit nervous. Last night when I was in the hotel room here at the beautiful Millennium, I was looking at the ratings for News 4, and I realized that Paul's not used to speaking with this many people watching, so I think he's been terrific. Actually, he told me that the only time he really gets nervous is when he's around really successful and intelligent people, and he said that's why he's always felt so comfortable in this room when he's emceed this event. Suddenly they don't like me so much when you turn it back on them. Paul modestly did not note that he was an honors student at Syracuse, always saying yes, Your Honor, and no, Your Honor, as he made his way through. But his wife, Kim, knows that I tend to be quick with the needle, and she asked me not to be patronizing toward Paul, so I'm going to live up to that promise. Patronizing means talking down, just in case you're... And I do want to thank the folks here at the Millennium, one of our sponsors. I did have the extraordinary privilege of staying here last night, and I've been overwhelmed from the start with the service, including again today here at the banquet. I dropped my spoon earlier during the appetizer, and the spoon hadn't hit the floor, and here comes one of the waiters with a spoon in his pocket, and he handed me the spoon. I said, wow, that's amazing. The spoon hadn't hit the floor. He said, well, here at the Millennium, we pride ourselves on service and efficiency. He said, a lot of people drop spoons. I don't have time to be running back to the kitchen all the time to get a spoon, so I carry a spoon around in my pocket. It's all about efficiency. And as I looked down, I noticed that he had a string coming from his fly. And I said, well, if you don't ask me won't mind me asking what's with the string. He said, well, it's the same thing about efficiency. I don't have time when I go to the men's room to wash my hands. So, when I get in there, I pull the string, and, it just happens. And I said, well, if you don't mind me asking, how does it reverse happen? He said, oh, I'll use the spoon. So, I hope you enjoyed your lunch. A couple of months ago, actually, I got a call from my good friend Andy Wilcox, Director of Marketing, Special Events, and giving himself a long title, apparently. And I thought he was engaging me in a conversation about the First Amendment when he asked me if I believed in free speech. And I said, of course I do. I'm a journalist. And he said, good, because you're going to come to Buffalo in August and give a free speech. So here I am. Well, one of the joys of being here was to spend time with Andy. I've always said if I had 6 months to live, I'd want to spend time with Andy, because when you do, every day seems like an eternity. So, and that's been true again here these last 2 days. And I welcome the chance to speak, because given that I spend most of my professional time on ESPN doing the basketball with Jay Billis and Bill Raftery, I realize that most of you actually haven't heard me speak. It's kind of the broadcast equivalent of the witness protection program. I worked also with Dick Vitale. The first time I did, we did a game at Indiana, and he said, Sean, I don't know if you know this, but I tend to jump in a lot. And I said, no, hadn't noticed watching the games. And he said, so when I want to speak, I don't want to step on you, so I'm just going to reach over and grab you by the elbow. And we did the whole game like this. I never actually got my elbow back from Dick. And a lot of people have asked me about Jay Billis and Bill Raftery, because they seem like they are my good pals, and they do a great job on the basketball. And I do send greetings. Jay's kind of the typical modest Duke guy. He's spending the summer working on his new book, The 10 Greatest Men in History and What I Think of the Other 9. And unfortunately, true story, and unfortunately, Bill Raftery is not feeling so well these days. He has spent the summer battling Irish arthritis. He gets stiff in a different joint every night. And so we're hoping he recovers in time for the basketball season. Wasn't sure this mic was working in all corners of the room, but we're warming up. We're warming up. And one of the great joys of my many years now in broadcasting, as Paul was nice enough to mention, is and you do get to meet some of your idols. And in my case, my idol was Harry Carey, the longtime great baseball announcer for the St. Louis Cardinals and the White Sox and the Cubs. And part of the reason I admired him was he could say or do anything, and because of his status in our profession, he could get away with it. And there's a couple of true stories, actually, about Harry. And Lou will learn the mechanics of broadcasting as he goes along, too. But Harry, if you watch the Cubs games on TV, you'll remember he used to chew and chomp and cough and clear his throat right into the microphone. And for the audio man or the engineer, that's a nightmare. And when he was doing the games on White Sox radio, the engineer got tired of him. He said, Harry, we're going to rig up a system. I'm going to put a light bulb on the front of your broadcast position, and I'm going to connect the light bulb to your microphone. And when you want to cough, raise your hand. I'm going to turn your microphone off. The light bulb will go off. You can cough right into the mic if you want. When you're ready to go again, raise your hand. I'll turn your mic back on. The light bulb comes on. Resume broadcasting. So for weeks, this works great. Harry wants to cough, clear his throat. He raises his hand. The light bulb goes off. Mic goes off. He clears his throat, raises his hand again. On it comes. About 3 weeks in, he raises his hand. He looks at the light bulb. It doesn't go off. Looks at the light bulb. It doesn't go off. He turns around. The engineer's not there. So Harry leaned forward and unscrewed the light bulb and coughed right into the microphone and continued broadcasting. A lot of us don't understand the technology that goes into some of what we do.